Today we have more retro cup action here on Great League, and of course we're gonna showcase 4 teams once again, but this time centered around Swampert. So Swampert is one of those Pokemon that almost everyone is having, and you need Hydro Cannon, which is a legacy back from each community day in order to be extremely useful for the meta. So today we're gonna check those 4 teams in total, while we're gonna analyze their strongest assets and of course their core breakers along the way, so that you can have a clear understanding of how to use Swampert in Great League Retro Cup. Starting off with the first team showcase, and we have Swampert on the closing part. Throughout the entire video we're gonna check Swampert on different team positions, and you're gonna see that this Pokemon is extremely good. So as a closer you definitely need to have a Shadow, but if you do not, just go with the regular. Just when you're looking at the closing part of any battle, Shadow Swampert is gonna perform much better than the regular one, while the regular one is gonna perform much better up in front when shields are in place, so that you can take more damage from those fast attacks. Anyways, enough about Swampert and the ultimate closer, but let's see the other two Pokemon, because they are gonna help it against its weaknesses, and that is mainly the grass types and Trevenant. So with the biggest Trevenant counter out there, Pidgeot up on the lead, able to farm down completely that Pokemon, go with back-to-back Brave Birds or debuff the opponent with the Feather Dance. This Pokemon is amazing on the lead option, and at the back Regirock, which can come in pretty clutch with those Stone Edges against any opponent. And I think that Stone Edge is gonna help you against Walrein, against Jellicents, and perhaps a flyer, something like an Altaria for example, protecting even more your Swampert. Core breaker of this team, none other than Lantern, because it obviously has a very good battle against Pidgeot. It will struggle against Swampert, which is a plus, and of course it might do super effective damage to your Regirock, but still you can play around it so that you can then finish it off with Swampert and then finish off whatever remains with your Pigeon coming on back into play. With that said, trainers, let's see what we have into team number 2. Abomasnow is a big core breaker for our next team, but still absolutely playable, as you may have noticed from this battle, since we're gonna have it up against us up on the lead. So worst horrible lead scenario, let's see how we can overturn the things around. So we're using Walrein up on the lead, which is mostly gonna be afraid of rock types, and perhaps Abomasnow because of Energy Ball, and of course you have to throw those back-to-back Icicle Spears, but Abomasnow will eventually get there to that Energy Ball first in no time at all. As a closer here we have our Noctowl, which can just dominate against anything in the meta. It has answers against even its counters, even against something like a Lantern. You can use this Pokemon with those Shadow Balls and still be extremely useful for your team. As a safe switch, of course, Swampog will emerge as a nice safe pick for this team. We are not gonna use it as a closer here, so you might want to have the regular version of Swampert as a safe switch, and I recommend going for this version only for this team and the safe switch with Sludge Wave, because most people will bring out of play their grass type. So with Sludge Wave you can definitely surprise those Pokemon, and at the worst case scenario you're gonna grab a shield, which is pretty neat if you ask me. And if you can bait out something like an Abomasnow, even finish it off with your Sludge Wave, you're gonna be on a much better spot than ever to win the entire thing around. So feel free to experiment with your Swampert, but I think that Sludge Wave might just fit in much better for this team composition. So I like this team a lot, has coverage against a lot of things. It might struggle a little bit against a Regirock up in front as well, because at the back you only have Noctowl, but of course your Earthquake and the back-to-back Hydro Cannons from a Swampert can easily finish it off, and of course you got the Earthquake from Walrein, so why not stay in? It's absolutely playable if you ask me, and I really recommend this team to you, one of the best ones on this entire video, and perhaps on the entire Great League Retro Cup. Totally lost my words back there, but anyways, let's return to the commentary for team showcase number 3, as we're gonna use Swampert this time up on the lead. So we saw Swampert as a closer, we saw it as a safe switch, so now it's all up to us to see it up in front, up on the lead scenario. And I think that when you're using Swampert up on the lead, you might want to have something like a Sludge Wave, because most probably you're gonna rotate around your safe switch, and this team will have no flyer at all, because as you may have already known from Great League, Open Great League, Swampert pairs well with any flyer out there to protect it from those fighters and perhaps the grass types. So with that in mind, I think that this team has no access to flyer at all, but still you can provide tons of coverage with the amazing backline, starting with Double, which is the main safe switch of the team, and I think that perhaps of having as your opponent something like a Jellicent or a Walrein, and if you run Sludge Wave on your Swampert, perhaps you need extra coverage against those Pokemon, and I think that Wild Charge can help you on that matter. So feel free to rotate around your Double, perhaps Wild Charge can be the better option overall. Payback will help you against the Psychics, which are just gonna dominate the meta, especially with the absence of Darks and Steels, but still I think that Wild Charge is still gonna connect for big damage on certain key matchups, something like a Noctowl up against you, something like a Jellicent, something like a Walrein, and all those counters are gonna be also the main counters of your Swampert up there, so definitely a notable mention to use Double with Wild Charge. Enough about this Pokemon, we have talked a lot about this ship-like Pokemon, so let's see what we have on the closing part, because Frostlass is gonna help you a ton on the closing part as well. So we're having access to Avalanche and Shadow Ball. This Pokemon is pretty amazing. I like it on every single special cap because most of the times its counters are absent, so right here as well, no Darks, no Steels, so you have less things to worry about, and most probably one of the safest closers as well, at the point that you can always use it as a safe switch. This is crazy. This team is pretty good. This team is losing to Araquanid because of its ability to wall down up in front your Swampert, and of course at the back has pretty even matchups, but still if you run that Wild Charge on your Double, you are still gonna get much better coverage even against a Pokemon like Araquanid, and that's why I recommend this team with those movesets to you. I have kept the best for the end, so here I am, trainers, with a final team showcase for this video with Swampert up on the lead, at the back Dugong, and of course Oranguru. What a surprise, Swampert once again up on the lead, who knew? Because yeah, this is a Swampert video after all, so that's why we're having it. I recommend going with the regular one, but for this team showcase, once again you might want to run something like a Sludge Wave over Earthquake, but it's always up to you. Those are my recommendations. No Shadow, no Earthquake, and you're gonna be just fine, I believe, and in a much better position for the Retro Cup of Great League when you're using your Swampert up on the link using a team like this. So at the back, Dugong is gonna be able to do a lot of solid work with its Drill Run, while Oranguru is the safest switch of them all only because of its typing. It is normal, it is a Psychic, and of course it is gonna be able to go toe to toe even up against something like a Medicham, for example, so you can have a very good battle overall. It is a Psychic type that can also beat down the Ghost types, which is pretty neat if you ask me. Something like a Trevenant, something like a Jellicent, and I can predict that Jellicent is gonna be played around a lot. So this team has a lot of coverage. PvPoke suggests to run Future Sight over Psychic on your Oranguru. Feel free to do so. I have Psychic here, perhaps I will switch it around in the future, but I like the defense chance drop that Psychic is having, which means that as a safe switch, Oranguru might have even more play and can turn around that 10%, 20%, whatever that is, chance of debuffing the opposing defense a little bit easier for you and make your life a little bit easier for sure. As a core breaker, we have Golisopod because it has access to a variety of moves that can threat the entire team. Scissor can be pretty deadly for Oranguru, even though other back types are not gonna be around that much. It has access to Liquidation, which can be pretty troublesome alongside its typing for Swampert, and speaking of its typing, well, it is gonna be able to resist pretty much anything that Dugong is gonna throw, so there goes that. So feel free to use this team. Only Golisopod is gonna stop you, but still Golisopod is so glassy that even back-to-back Hydro Cannons can bring it on a critical condition, so keep that in mind, and I think that you are gonna win big time battles. Is that the correct term? Yeah, big time battles on Go Battle League in no time at all. So that is gonna be all for today, trainers, and thank you for watching till the end. Just be sure to leave a huge like before you go, and of course subscribe to my channel if you are new to my content. Speaking of my content, well, I have 2 videos for you to check out, so feel free to do so, and I will see you all into the next one.